Good evening and welcome to the November 24th, 2014 meeting of the Wakefield Board of Selectmen. First matter on the agenda is approval of the minutes from our meeting of November 10th. Can I get a motion?
Second.
Moved by Betsy, second by Paul. All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Next item is public participation. Steve, did we have anybody sign in for that?
No one has not signed in.
Double negative. Let it go, or not. I think we're going to go, all right, personnel and appointments, and we want, first item is
Thank you for the grammar correction, Mr. Chairman.
yeah. Happy to correct you at all
Thank you.
opportunities.
I know you are.
First item is a great one. Police Chief, come on up, along with Ken Silva, for the discussion of the Community Policing Award. So we have several members of our Wakefield Police Department here with us tonight. So, floor is yours, gentlemen.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I'll be very brief. I promise I won't take much of your time. But before I begin, I'd like to thank the chair for the kind comments that he posted on our town website. I got an opportunity to, I don't go to the town website very often because we have our own, but during town meeting I had a chance to look at it, and I want to thank you for your kind words.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. So you've earned it.
Tonight is a special night. As many of you know, the Wakefield Police Department was awarded an international award by the Community Policing Committee at the International Chiefs Conference down in Orlando last month. And the award was for what originally started as the Silver Project, going way back in 2010, when the Board of Selectmen went to Mr. Mayo and explained that they really wanted some help downtown with people that were having trouble hanging around some of the homeless problems down there and issues we had. So at the time, I spoke with Deputy Chief Jack McKay, who spoke with Kenny Silva. We put together a group, and thanks to that group and Selectwoman Sharon, who joined us in that group, we developed what was called our CIT team to combat and help and offer the services of the town of Wakefield and the Wakefield Police Department to those who are a little less fortunate. So Kenny Silva, Officer Silva, took the ball and ran with it, and he developed a program working with outside Elliott, Riverside Department of Mental Health, and pulling that all together, it eventually morphed into what we call our critical incident team. Our team works tirelessly. There are 10 members of the team. Of those 10 members, with us today, we have Sergeant McCall, who is now the officer in charge. He's taken over. Since he came to Days, he's taken it over and done a great job with it. Officer Lyons, Skillings, and Silva. But also with us tonight is clinician Jen Wachowski. And Jen is a non-sworn member of our department. She's around 24 hours a week, does a great job. She rides along with our personnel. Jen, would you put your hand up there? Jen does a great job. She works with our officers hand in hand every day, every night. Tremendous asset to the department. And this is all a result of the hard work of this team and some of the funding that we're able to receive. Having said all that, the other members of the team are Officer Tobine, Whaley, Warren, Toothaker, Holler, and Halliday. And for whatever reason, they couldn't make it tonight. Obligations getting into the holiday season. This award is a great award for the members of this team. But it's not just this team that does the work. It's every member, men and women, of the Wakefield Police Department that do this work every day. Every member knows we have a team. Every member knows what we expect and what we want, and every member knows what the community needs. So every night and day, midnight shift, when our personnel go out to work, they go out and they work. They carry this information with them. They do an excellent job of taking care of those in our community that need help. As a result of that, the International Association of Chiefs of Police recognized what we do in the town of Wakefield. We put together a white paper. Lieutenant Calabrese put a lot of work into it. We mailed it into the international chiefs, and for communities of 25,000 or more, 25,000 to 50,000, we won the award. There were 10 of them given out in the world. So it's a great honor to have won that. This award, I had the honor of accepting this award as an attendee at the conference. This award belongs not only to the 10 officers who are members of the CIT team under the leadership of Sergeant McCall, belongs to the men and women of the Wakefield Police Department and the people of the town of Wakefield. So it's with great pleasure and pride that I bring this award back from Florida and give it to the people that are doing the work, share it with the men and women that do the work every day, and share it with the town of Wakefield. So I want to thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the time, a few minutes of your time, member of the board, to present this to our team as well as to you and the people of the town of Wakefield. Thank you. And thank you for your support.
You're welcome, and it's our pleasure. Just around the table, any Paul?
Just a great opportunity right now. This started a long time ago, when we had that one forum in there, when we were talking with the people from Framingham, if you remember that, and they talked to us about having someone with them at all times, just as you are now, right now. So you've come a long way in the last 3-4 years as to reaching this achievement, and congratulations, you did a fabulous job. Thank you.
Betsy?
I'd just like to comment too, Chief, when this first started, several members, if not all now, took time on their own time, not during their work day, to become acclimated with the rules and regs and the procedure and protocol, et cetera, that was being set up by Kenny Silva. And they did it on their own time. It's great, and congrats. I don't know what else to say. I mean, it's fantastic.
Betsy, if I can just follow that up, that's one point I have written down here, and I didn't even see it. It's in pencil, so I probably didn't see it. Every one of these members are volunteers.
Right.
It's not a condition of employment. Each and every one of these 10 people that I mentioned here tonight have stepped up on their own to be part of this program. So thank you for reminding me of that.
You know, that's the part, it was a very impressive program, but I thought, hey, they're doing it on their own time. This is fantastic, you know. I think it's wonderful. Congrats, really. You know, it's wonderful.
Phyllis?
I also want to congratulate. I think what you've done has been remarkable, and I really feel that the citizens of Wakefield are very grateful for what you've done and for these group of men and for the police department, and I'm sure they're very proud of this award that's been given to you. Thank you.
Say real quick, Chief, congratulations to you and all your men. You run a top-notch police department. I think it's fantastic. The fact that all these folks on this team have dedicated their time and volunteered their free time, time away from their families, time away from whatever they do off hours, I think is just incredible. And to get this award is just fantastic. So hats off to you guys. Thank you. Thank you.
Just to underscore, it's very easy to look at the folks that you guys are approaching and trying to help with scorn, with derision, and I think that was happening. People walk around them, but to put the effort in to try to get to know these people and to understand what their issues are and the problems, in addition to making sure our downtown is safe for people to walk through, is remarkable. And I think that probably a lot of people in town don't know what you've done behind the scenes. So hopefully this will highlight that, and unbelievable. Great. Thank you.
Yeah, again, congratulations. I think there are plenty of communities that have lots of things to talk about with respect to their police department, and for us, it seems to be a recurring theme that it's something really positive and really great that you're doing. So, well-run department. Congratulations to you for having the initiative to start the program years ago and to see it through. And I'll just reiterate again, you're one of 10 departments in the world to receive the award, which is, I hope people take heed of that. So it's not even top 10 in Mass or top 10 in the US, it's top 10 in the world, which is a pretty significant distinction. So we're proud of you, and congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. One last thing is that part of this goal, one of the goals of this program was to reduce the arrests, because arrests always don't achieve what we hope they are to achieve. Our arrests, a certain population in Wakefield, are down 80% as a result of what this program has done and what the end result is. So It works as a social experiment, but it also works as a statistical number. So
Right.
we know that we can reduce the number of arrests, achieve what you brought to our attention, and get the job done. So I'm so proud of the men and women here that have worked with us and those that aren't with us tonight. And again, thank you
Good.
very much.
Congratulations, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Great job, guys.
All righty, thank you. Do we want to do a quick picture or anything with that? or
You can. Do you want to take a picture? Yeah.
All of us, or just them?
Sure.
Or
With them, sure, yep.
you guys want to do a quick picture? I know we have we're a little behind on a
Okay.
public hearing, but I see you, the person here for a public hearing is okay. That we're gonna.
We all getting up?
Yeah, why don't we go around the table? Yeah, we usually jump in front of the table, try to light more. Oh, yes.
It'll work.
Phyllis, you can get right in there. Steve?
This is you.
Tell me whether or not you can, I'll give you a count, I'm gonna take 2 quick pictures.
Everybody suck it in.
1, 2, and 3. And we'll do one more. Okay, and 1, 2, and 3. Great.
Steve, why didn't you get the picture? Oh, Steve, you should.
No, it was fine, it was fine.
I didn't see it until
No, you guys.
afterwards.
Wasn't enough room.
Excellent. Yes, there was.
Okay.
All right,
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we go into
Thank
the
you.
public hearing for the tax purpose of certification.
moved by Betsy, second by Tiz. We need a roll call for public hearing. Ms. Hull?
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay, it's unanimous. We're now in public hearing. Victor?
Good
all
evening,
you.
everyone. This is my 9th classification hearing before this August board, and I've decided to change it up a bit with a PowerPoint presentation.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And in case you're wondering about the picture on the front of the presentation, it's one of 3 homes in Wakefield at the average assessed value of $416,000. The required action by the Board of Selectmen this evening is to arrive at the selection of a minimum residential factor, selection of an open space discount, granting of a residential exemption, and granting of a small commercial exemption.
Hey, Chris, move over here, because this is, it's like at home when you block the TV. I don't think Betsy can see.
Oh, good.
Oh, by the way, I'd like to thank Chairman of the Board, Jane Dario, for being here this evening. Christopher Wilcock, another member of my board who's also Chief Assessor of Melrose. However, Sebastian Tyne could not make it this evening as he is delivering classification in North Reading. Minimum residential factor. If a residential factor of 1 were to be used, we'd have a single tax rate for all classes of property of $15.64 per thousand. We get that dividing our $62.7 million tax levy by our $4+ billion total value. However, Chapter 200 of the Mass General Laws allows Wakefield to select a factor less than 1, thereby shifting more of the tax burden onto the commercial, industrial, and personal classes of properties. Historically, Wakefield has chosen the maximum allowable shift factor to afford residential taxpayers the lowest possible shift burden allowed under law. Once again, the Board of Selectmen has requested an excess levy capacity amount equal to $325,518 in order to mitigate some of the pending tax impact. This results in a savings of 7 cents on the residential tax rate and 14 cents on the commercial, industrial, and personal property tax rate. That translates into a savings of $29 for the average single-family home and $161 for the average commercial property. This slide shows various options and resulting tax rates at various shift intervals. At a CIP shift of 1, you see the residential tax rate would be $15.55. These numbers also include the excess levy capacity action that this board requested. And a shift to 175, residential tax rate of $13.48, and a commercial tax rate of $27.22. The average single-family value in Wakefield is $416,000. And at those various shift intervals, you see what the estimated tax bill would be. And at the maximum shift, the average single-family tax bill will be $5,608. The average commercial value in Wakefield is $1,148,900. And there again, you see the various shift intervals, the resulting tax rates, and the estimated tax amounts. And at the maximum shift, the average commercial property's tax bill would be $31,273. Sorry, I'm new to this technology, forgive me. At the maximum allowable shift, our estimated tax rates will be $13.48 residential and $27.22 commercial. These rates can change slightly through the DOR approval process. Average tax bill comparison from 14 to 15. The average single-family value last year was $4,039. It's $416 this year. Tax rate was $1,278. It's going to be $13.48, or a 70-cent change, or an increase of 5.4% on the rate. And again, the average tax bill last year was $51.61. It's estimated to be $56.08 this year, or an increase of $447. And the average commercial, we have the values, the tax bills. The average tax bill for commercial is actually down about $470. Some further notes on the tax rate. Fiscal 15 is the first year of the full debt exclusion for the new Galvin Middle School. The debt exclusion adds $2,375,098 to our fiscal 15 tax levy. It adds 51 cents to the residential tax rate, or $212 to the average single-family home. And it adds $1.04 to the CIP rate, or $1,195 to the average commercial tax bill. Some other interesting notes. When we arrive at assessments, we look at one calendar year to the next calendar year. In calendar year 2012, we had 186 sales, 83.15 days on market, and an average sale price of $402,000. For 2013, we had 228 sales, down almost 40%. And the average sale price went up nearly 11.5% to $447,700. One thing I should mention, forgive me, the recommended minimum residential factor that you should select this evening, should you decide to shift to the maximum amount, would be .866659. Over here, I have the definition of open space, defined land which is not otherwise classified and which is not taxable under provisions of Chapter 61A or 61B, or under a permanent conservation restriction, not held for the production of income, but maintained in an open and natural condition, which contributes significantly to the public. A maximum of exemption of 25% may be adopted. However, the town has never voted a discount for open space since no properties have been identified which fulfill this section. Residential exemption, it's only adopted in a handful of communities, including Boston, Cambridge, Chelsea, and Brookline. The tax rate would go from $13.48 to $16.08 before the discount. After you apply the discount, there is a break-even point, and the break-even point is $486,400. So for every home below that value, they would receive a benefit. For every home above that value, they're the ones paying the benefit for the ones below it. And most homes in Wakefield are owner-occupied. Small commercial exemption, an exempt property valuation for commercial properties only. Eligible businesses cannot have more than 10 employees as certified by the Department of Employment and Training. Building value cannot exceed $1 million. One business in a building could not qualify unless every other business in that building qualified as well. The exemption goes to the building owner and not necessarily the business owner. The assessing department is unaware of any businesses meeting these requirements. Here's a review of our fiscal 2014 tax rates for Wakefield and surrounding communities. We have them all listed here. And Wakefield has the lowest single-family tax bill for fiscal year 2014, with the exception of Saugus. Saugus obviously has Route 1 business district. Regarding this next slide, we list what communities could shift, what they actually shifted to, and it also lists the impact on the tax base. With the exception of Saugus, Wakefield does realize the lowest possible share of the tax burden with a maximum allowable shift to 175. Average single-family tax bill from 2003 to present. Since 2003, the average single-family tax bill increase has been roughly 5%. Without the debt exclusion, the estimated increase would be approximately $235 or 4.5%. And the next page lists the, over the same period, 2003 to present, commercial tax bill changes. That's all I have this evening.
Great, thank you. Good presentation. We read your materials that you sent ahead of time in the report, and it looks like it's kind of do it again, what we did last year, right? And I don't see any changes proposed for this year. So, not to minimize the effort and the work that goes into calculating all that, but that's the net result. The net is status quo for the next fiscal year. Right?
I think that's
What?
That's above my pay grade.
Oh, that's kind of where we're at. I guess you're, if you had a recommendation.
I recommend you adopt something this evening so we can get it into the DOI certified.
Well said.
So,
All right, so,
Go for it.
well,
Go
I guess
ahead,
the
Tiz.
first motion would be to accept a 1.75% shift in the residential tax.
And the minimum, and the factor of 86.66.
Factor of 0.86659 as the maximum residential factor.
Second.
okay, moved by Tiz, second by Betsy. All in favor? Aye. Great. Another motion for us?
Second, was it the residential exemption? I would move to not adopt the residential exemption for the town of Wakefield.
Second.
Moved by Tiz, second by Betsy. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
The third one is to not adopt a commercial exemption for the town of Wakefield.
Second.
moved by Tiz, second by Betsy. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I think
I think that covers it, right?
Open space?
Open space.
Oh, open
Space.
space. Open space.
Betsy, you wanna handle that one? I
No,
didn't catch that one.
yeah, you've been doing a good job. You're in the biz.
Victor, can you just go over that one more time for us?
An open space discount, basically, I have the definition in the booklet. We're unaware of any properties that meet that criteria, and the town has never adopted an open space discount.
So we need a
So,
motion to.
Motion is not to adopt an open space discount for the town of Wakefield.
Second.
All right, moved by Tiz, second by Betsy, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to duly noted that on all four, I didn't vote at all. Just want that noted.
Okay.
Given a discount open space.
So it was unanimous of the 5 people voted, 5 people voted.
And Paul abstained. from
Paul
all-
abstained from all four.
All abstained
so-
from all 4. So 5 of us voted and 5 voted in favor. Okay?
Public.
I know we didn't do public. Anybody from the public who wanted to speak on that now that we've voted on it? A little behind.
I think what's
No.
important to note, Mr. Chairman, is the board voted as consistently to give the homeowner the lowest possible tax rate
Yeah.
and tax bill they could.
And that's kind of what I was getting at. We
Yeah.
didn't make any change. I guess you weren't making recommendations, you were reporting to us, but at the end of the day, that was the math on this, is nothing, and there was all sorts of opportunities to shift the tax burden to the residents, to take a burden off of the commercial property owners and things like that. We didn't do that yet again, so that was kind of the point of status quo, so. Great. Actually, I have a quick question on that. It's to that end. You had other towns up there that you showed that we were at the 1.75. We maxed out the residential shift, and other towns didn't. Curious how they got to a lesser factor. Were they ever at 1.75 and decided to go back? It seems like a place, once you get to, it's awfully hard to move back from, or have they never gotten to the full residential shift?
This dates back to when classification was first adopted in '79, and as it moved through, the legislature allowed the capacity to shift. It was based on town budgets and excess levy capacity at the time. That's why some communities can only shift to 1.5. Wakefield at the time had the designation to shift 1.75.
Okay.
And communities do whatever it is they do. Some folks do not go to their maximum shift for whatever reasons. Each town is independent. So
Yeah, I was just curious if anybody ever came back from that edge. Once you're at that end of the spectrum, it's can't be very popular to decide to shift back, so.
Right.
you are correct.
I'm not proposing that. Just wondering why other people aren't given the maximum benefit to the residents, so. Okay, great.
Thank you very much for the opportunity tonight.
Thank
Take
you
care.
very much.
Thank you
Gonna
very
get a
much.
motion off to my right.
I'd like to make a motion that we
Close the public hearing.
close the now.
Moved by Betsy, second by Tiz. Phyllis, just
Yes.
close the hearing. Yes.
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 Aye.
Yep,
Thank
Aye.
you all.
thank you very much.
Public hearing is now closed. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. And thank you for all your hard work, all of you, on all that. I know, I didn't mean to sound, to dismiss it at the outset there. I know it's a lot of work, a lot of research, a lot of numbers crunching that goes into it. You sure do. That's the beauty of it.
Fine job, fine job.
Thank you.
Good night. See you later. Bye, Chris. Bye, Jane.
All right.
Oh,
Next item. Item number 5 on the agenda is our
Mr.
presentation.
Chairman,
3B,
3B.
Mr. Chairman, 3B.
Or 3B, we can go there too. All right, we need to advertise for appointment to the retirement board. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Tiz, second by Betsy. All in favor of
Aye.
advertising for appointment to the retirement board?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Great. 3B is done. 5A, if it's okay. We okay with the 5A? We're in the right track, all right. 5A, request from Jane Fanjoy, chairperson of Wakefield Lions Club, for the annual event of the arrival of Santa Claus by fire engine on Saturday, December 13th, 2014, and also to place Santa's workshop on the Upper Common at the corner of Church and Common Street during the week of December 1st, or weeks of December 1st through December 23rd, 2014.
So moved.
So moved.
Moved by Paul, second by Phyllis. All in favor? Aye. Great. Looking forward to that. Next item on the agenda is a letter to the state delegation. We have several copies of basically the same letter in our packet. I don't know that we need a vote on that, or should we?
I think that the board, Mr. Chairman, should
Just to
vote on it.
vote to endorse,
Yeah.
okay. So, if if everybody's read the letter, we have any discussion, or are we okay? I'll entertain a motion to approve the submission of the letter.
Second.
Second, may I add to
Moved by
that?
Tiz,
that-
second by Paul, and added by Betsy.
I was just gonna say, could we authorize Steve to carry on any communication that would result as, if we get any response for that letter?
Sure.
I'm just gonna
We
authorize
okay
him to do it.
amending your motion? Yes, Tiz said yes.
Yes.
And Paul seconded it again.
Yeah.
And
I love it when that happens.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. Steve, keep us posted on.
Yes, yeah. Like I
much-
said, I think that the largest cut, which is the cut in local aid, the legislature seems to have very little appetite to do that. You know, a new governor will come in, and the new governor will inherit some of these issues, so we'll see. But everything that the new governor, Governor Baker, has said is that he will not look to local aid. So,
Great,
I'll let
great.
you know.
Yeah, you did a good job of making the point in the letter that, you know, kind of doing it midstream isn't really the right thing to
Right.
do,
Right.
so, thank you. Next item is request from the Clarion to extend their liquor license by 1 hour on New Year's Eve from 1 AM to a new closing time of 2 AM.
Move to deny.
Motion to deny by Betsy,
I'll second that.
seconded by Mr. Dodo. Any discussion on that, or we, good?
Yeah, no, I'd like to have
Sure.
some discussion on that. I have my own reasons why I would vote to deny it, but Steve, I'm curious, how do you feel on this one?
I support the motion to deny for the following reasons. Number one, our police chief is here, and I've discussed this with him, and I think he certainly agrees with my reasoning on this. When you look at our surrounding communities, okay, when you look at Stoneham, Linfield, Reading, Melrose, all of them close earlier than 2 AM, okay? Stoneham as late as 1 AM, like in Wakefield, we have liquor licenses as late as 1 AM in Wakefield. Okay, they may extend some to 1 AM, but 12 PM is where they are now. Reading, 12:30, they are not planning to extend at all. Melrose, you're gonna have your New Year's, watch the ball somewhere else, because they're closing at around 11:30. So, I am very concerned that if we have a establishment that will be open later than everybody else, we will draw everybody to that establishment. I think it's great, great for them for business, and I get that, but there's a real safety issue here for the community, and after talking with the police chief, and doing some, research around here, I'm suggesting that we should not. I support the motion to deny, and, it's completely within our purview under Mass General Law.
Okay, yeah, go ahead, please.
Brian, just real quick, I mean, the justification of the letter that we got from the Clarion just doesn't, it doesn't really amount to much. They're saying that they wanna compete with Boston. We're
Really?
15, 20 miles away from Boston, give or take, but, none of the surrounding communities are increasing their licenses till 2 o'clock. This is only gonna attract a lot of people here, into Wakefield, and I think it's just gonna be a hazardous situation, I think, on our public roads, and I think that's just not a justification for us. I mean, they have a liquor license till 1 o'clock. That gets them past midnight, and they have another hour to do what they wanna do. And I think that, 1 o'clock is more than enough, so that's just my take on this.
I would tend to agree. In fact, I talked to Steve about this earlier, and my gut reaction when I saw the request was, in my heart, I was giving the general manager kind of kudos for having the foresight and planning ahead. So many folks say, let's have a big New Year's Eve event and not even consider things like their liquor license and what are the rules, and for coming to ask for permission, I'm doing the right thing. Unfortunately, I think for us to do the right thing, it means to deny it based on kind of the safety and other issues we're talking about, not because we have any vendetta or any issues with our resident in the town here, but just based on safety, and it's the smarter move here. So with that, all in favor of the motion to deny the extension? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Unanimous. Great. Next item is 6B, request for a Class 2 license for IB Auto Sales.
Well, this is.
Yes.
It's not a public
Not
hearing.
a public hearing.
It's not a public hearing, but
No.
we'll give you an opportunity to speak.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
I have some pamphlets I'd like to pass out to
Go ahead.
everybody.
I'll just put them here, we'll pass them around. That's fine.
Thank you.
Just to give you a couple, just not necessarily ground rules, but
Yep.
before when you were here, it was in the context of a public hearing.
Oh, okay.
In this, it's just, a brief comment is adequate, so,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm just gonna read just a small statement,
Okay.
okay? On September 29th, the board revoked the Class 2 auto license of TBI Auto Sales for failure to acquire the required bond. We apologize for our failures to meet the required deadline, and if given the opportunity, we can assure this will not happen again. We were also informed at this meeting by town council of a pending judgment against TBI. We immediately researched this following the meeting and learned it was the same lady, Miss Jacqueline Fredette, that sent the complaint to the town. Ms. Fredette has been TBI's one and only unsatisfied customer. The pending judgment has been vacated, and we return tonight with the paperwork from the court validating the vacancy. And we respectfully request that the board reconsiders and shows a little bit of leniency, as we believe everyone deserves a second chance. Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, go ahead, Tiz.
So the judgment that was vacated, or the matter that was vacated, was it a result of a settlement with Ms. Fredette, or
No, negative,
was not a settlement?
no.
Did she not show up to the hearing, to the court?
Yes, I showed up and neither did her lawyer on two actually different attempts.
So if I may, so the matter's still, the case wasn't dismissed, just the judgment was vacated, so you still have the matter to deal with.
No, actually, it's,
All done?
and according to the court system, it's off record. They would have to refile a whole nother
Okay.
document, courts, and so on and so forth.
Got it.
I mean, just to make, so a judgment was never entered against you, the matter just never got before a judge, never got before a jury if it went that far?
Yes,
I think he had a default judgment against him,
Oh,
right? And, because they came to the town, or they went, the court sought to get funds from the bond that he didn't have to pay the judgment.
no, did she get, so she actually got a judgment against?
Yeah.
may I add, she only
Yeah, I'm seeing it
received,
now.
Vacate the judgment,
Yep.
so.
So once the judgment was vacated, which was allowed, I'm assuming, right?
yes,
So nothing else happened since then with respect to this court case?
no. It's been, as far as I know, dismissed, and according to the court system, they would have to file a whole nother court case and so on and so forth. But I do have a validated bond still active that will support any repercussions if there may be.
And this was as recent as, it appears 3 weeks ago that you filed the motion to vacate the judgment?
Yes, that's correct. I did it actually after this meeting, this meeting was on the 29th.
Anybody else while we're?
Well, just
Go
some
ahead, Betsy,
questions.
sure.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, to Steve. We had some issues also about filing with the town of the proper licenses,
The bond.
And the bond.
The bond was not filed.
and it's still not filed.
No, they did send that, he did send it in after the
After
hearing.
we revoked
Right,
in September,
through that process.
yeah. But this, I'm not an attorney. Obviously, I will ask a question that maybe is obvious. This is still open then. This judgment is still open, but she will have to refile. I'm not 100% square on this.
She doesn't have to refile a whole new court case.
Right.
I think she would just have to go in and commence the proceedings again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't
She
think we
doesn't
can-
have-
It's
still
not
live.
settled.
All right.
In other words,
Still an open
it's still
matter.
open. That's my final question.
It went
This
from
is still
being
open.
closed and finally adjudicated to
Right,
reopened. And
Right.
They vacated the judgment that,
yeah,
the
so
default
this is
judgment.
kind of still in limbo, so to speak. And at any given moment, it could rear its ugly head.
But it appears to me, Betsy, just to be clear, is that I'm sure she got served with this motion to vacate, and she didn't appear.
Right.
To argue her point on vacating the motion. So it appears that the judge allowed the motion to vacate,
Okay.
which now brings the matter back before the judge to, commence the proceedings as if they were already started and they're in the middle of litigation, basically.
Okay, I guess my follow-up question then, this is leading to, and I won't
Go ahead.
belabor this. Since they were not bonded, when this originally happened, just because they're bonded now, that doesn't, and that won't help them out on the original action.
Right.
No.
It's like
Okay,
buying
I just wanna
insurance
make that
after
very
after you get in a
clear.
car accident.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to,
I just want to point out one thing, just because I remember this matter coming before us, and I remember receiving a letter from Ms. Fredette, and it was a pretty scathing letter, if my memory serves me. I'm just curious as to why she didn't even show up to, argue a motion to vacate the
You
matter.
recall these folks came here in a public hearing.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah,
recall
yeah,
that, I recall them
that-
coming,
yeah,
absolutely,
yeah.
oh, yeah. And she just relied on her letter, so, I just wanted to point that out, that she didn't take the time to go, before the court on a motion to vacate, for whatever reason, I don't know what it could have been, but she already received the judgment, and they filed a motion to vacate. the judgment, so.
May I say something as well, because this has been basically off the court case, so to speak. And I did speak with my bonding company, and they said, even though it was a previous matter, because she has to file a whole new docket number, a whole brand-new complaint, so on and so forth, the bond would cover that insurance if there was any legal action. So the board has really no worry as far as that is concerned.
well, I guess, Mr. Chairman, I'm also interested in the fact that our focus seems to be on Ms. Fredette. But that's not my main focus. My main focus is that prior to, forget about Ms. Fredette right now and the issue that she has with you personally. My point that I'm interested in is that the rules weren't followed before. There was no bond, there was no application, there was no presentation of the bond after time and time and time again it's being requested, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct, yes.
So, to me, the Fredette issue is separate from the fact that you are now looking for a license, but there was a failure, and I know it's Mrs. Donald that's asking for it now, but the failure before was through Mr. Donald that didn't follow the rules after being pursued on a number of occasions. So that's my problem with this tonight. Okay, I'm just letting the board know. I'm not coming from the Fredette issue, that was just an aside.
I totally understand that, Betsy, and the only thing I can say is I will promise not to bring any more problems to the board. And that's basically, I've done all the research for basically owning a business, operating a business, and before this Fredette issue, I've had every single satisfied customer, and that's it.
Paul?
Mr. Chairman, through you for Steve, on this. Stephen, if we move forward on any, are we going to be held accountable for anything right now? Let's just say, play out one scenario. If we okay this and he gets his license and Fredette comes back, are we liable in any way?
If what comes back?
If the woman,
Oh, if that previous matter is
yes,
brought up?
that's right.
I think that Town Council Mullen did answer that last time. It would be a very minimal expense to us, if any, so I'm not all that concerned with that. But I do not believe that this bond will cover anything going forward, frankly.
So if it doesn't cover it, then my question is who? It
It
has
would
no,
be,
it
it
will
would be a
never come
real,
back on the
it would
town,
be a
will it?
real stretch to put the town in any
Yeah.
Okay.
issue there, Paul.
Okay.
I'm not saying
No, I
nothing's
just
impossible, but it's quite a
want,
stretch.
I'm looking out more now
Yeah.
for the town's, liability on the
Right.
whole issue. Sir, when
Yes.
you address the board, it's through their last names, please.
Oh,
It's-
I'm
It's
sorry.
not through their first name,
I'm
okay?
very, very
It's
sorry. My
Chairwoman
apologies.
Sharon,
We got it.
it's
Okay.
Chairman Falvey.
okay.
It's a protocol.
Understand.
So it just,
My apologies, sir.
and I just, when you do,
And-
I'm not sure what the board's favor is going to be on this issue right now. I'm not the lawyer on this, so I'm having my own issues as to understanding the terminology that's being used. So I'm going to have to rely mostly on my fellow peers as to what's the best course of action, because vacating the judgment, I'm not really sure. So.
Okay. Phyllis?
It has become so complicated, and there are still issues that are not answered that we're really not happy with. So at this time, I would like to make a motion to deny.
Second.
Okay. Motion made by Phyllis, seconded by Betsy. Any more discussion on the motion? I know I have some, so. Everybody okay for the moment? Steve, we have other folks that had an issue with the prior entity? Is that-
We did receive, well, let me say, we receive calls from auto brokers and other companies selling cars often. Does ABC Company have a license with the town of Wakefield? That probably happens weekly, monthly. That's part of their due diligence. We did recently receive a call last week from Portsmouth Nissan, asking particularly about this company, if they had a license with the town, and they were looking for payment of a bill. And we said, well, no, they don't have a license, and that's it.
Okay.
I gotta say, I've never received a call regarding any other Class 2 license in my history here,
Okay.
of that nature.
Yeah, and here's where I get a little caught up in this is, not caught up, but where I struggle with approving a license like this is the fact that, what does it mean to be licensed? Does it mean you filed some paperwork and you checked a box? If it meant you filed paperwork and you checked a box, then we wouldn't have to approve the licenses. They would be self-approving. But, Sherry would say, yep, they've got all their stuff in order, here's the license. So there's a reason that we approve things. And I think the fact that other, people call our town hall about any business in Wakefield and say, is this business licensed? It means there's some sort of stamp or validation or something that we've done some sort of diligence. It means something to somebody. It gives somebody some sort of comfort in doing business with the business owner. So it's important, and so we shouldn't take it lightly, because ultimately it's a matter of consumer protection. And, to that end, you guys have been in here before. We had some pretty serious discussions about whether even this is the right business for you to be in, based on the fact that you demonstrated a lack of awareness of some fundamental rules about how to run a business like this. If you were B2B and, it was gonna be a market issue where you were gonna deal with some other business somewhere and they were gonna figure out, we don't wanna do business with you anymore, or something like that, and that were the total ramifications of your actions, that would be one thing. But here, consumers are relying, I feel, on the fact that we've granted a license. With the knowledge we have about your operating history, your failure to comply with basic requirements after having friendly reminder after friendly reminder after urgent reminder after threatening reminder, with an unsatisfied customer and a judgment out there, and yet another call this week after you're saying you've only had one unsatisfied customer in your own letter to us. I just find it, it's hard, you know, I don't take this stuff lightly, but it makes it hard to say, yeah, I think we'll put the Board of Selectmen's stamp on this business and issue a license. So I don't know how my fellow board members feel. I think we heard from a few, but that's kind of where I stand. I struggle, and I feel bad for you, but by the same token, we can't do it because it means something to consumers that somebody's licensed by this board, and we have to take that very seriously. So. Anybody else? You good?
Just want to make a quick comment.
Sure.
Andy, you want to say something?
I'm just uncomfortable with the call last week. That shows a slight pattern with me, and I'm not comfortable okaying it. We're putting our reputation behind it, saying that this is a business that you won't have problems with. That's my worry.
Okay, Tiz?
Steve, through you, Brian,
Sure.
can you just clarify what the call was for?
Was from a Portsmouth Nissan, I believe, was the number, Portsmouth Nissan, looking whether this company had a license. Said, no, they didn't. And he said, well, geez, I've been chasing them for a long time for money they owe me. Click. That was it. And I only bring that up, and I put a memo in the file because of, we had ongoing issues here. This was before the license was the application was brought in. Like I said, I don't get calls like that at Town Hall. We get calls checking on duplexes. But I gotta say, this is the first time I've ever had a Class 2 license that's come back to me with issues on all certain fronts. Okay? That's just fact.
Okay. Anybody else? Good?
Just one more comment. I mean,
Sure.
I for one, I think in general, we're a society that gives second chances and forgives people that have done, things wrong in the past. I remember this matter pretty clearly. So, I for one, I would give him a second chance at this point, not to deprive anybody of an opportunity to make a living. This is one matter out of I don't know how many cars that you've sold in the past.
54. 54.
That's just my take on it. So that's it.
Okay.
And may I just say one more thing? Jacqueline Fredette, and I do have proof of this as well. That person from Port City or whoever it is could have been a friend of Jacqueline. She's posted everything on Craigslist, on Yahoo, on Google. I do have printouts of that, and I have spoken to my our attorney. I do have an attorney for my business now as well, just in case if any litigations or any type of repercussions would come before the board or city council. And so that's basically all I have to say about that.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, with that, there is a motion to deny the licenses currently on the floor, so. All in favor of the motion to deny? So, opposed? Okay, 5-1, licenses denied.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. With that, we have a few matters left. 7A, correspondence, is a letter from Senator Lewis in your packets. And we'll go around the table now. Town council's not here tonight, so
No, but
Steve.
Told me I could pick up his check for him.
Oh, yeah.
We pay him? I didn't realize that.
Oh, I know.
Regarding the letter from Jason Lewis in the package, Jason Lewis is our state senator, as you know, and he is looking for, as he sets his legislative agenda next year, what our needs and dreams and desires are. So I'll be putting together something for him and the rest of our delegation as we get closer to the new year. If you have anything that is something that you're really interested in, please let me know so I can make sure that I can include that, and I will circulate this around to you as well. So that's it.
Great.
Thank you.
Phyllis,
Nothing.
come on. Really? All right.
I'm just keeping quiet tonight.
All right, thanks.
I'd just
Betsy?
like to thank Tommy Stapleton and his staff for a very nice evening last Wednesday night, when they had, when WCAT had their annual meeting. It was very nice. And always the gentleman, greeting everyone, and we had a very nice time, Phyllis and I did come here. Everything was very nice. Also, if people would please drop off, any, groceries at the food pantry. We're into the holiday, that makes it any less crucial. But maybe you could give a little bit of an extra effort and drop things off at the food pantry, which is on the lower level of the AmeriCal Civic Center. And lastly, I'd like to just say happy Thanksgiving to every member of this board, and Sherry and Steve, the WCAT volunteers that sit here silently and listen to us, and all of the municipal employees in the town, on both the town side and the school side, and lastly, the citizens, last but not least, the citizens of Wakefield. Happy Thanksgiving, safe holiday to everyone. Thank you.
Oh, I scared something up. Phyllis, you'd like
Yeah.
to go?
I'd like to ask a question.
Sure.
I'd like an answer.
Sure.
What did those people that came in here that asked about that license do that was so disrespectful that Selectman Dinoco had to respond that way? What was it? What did I
Oh,
miss?
Yeah, he Miss Sharon as Betsy. So,
You know, when people are here and they're struggling for something, and I understand how Selectman Dodo feels too, because last time I felt that way about them. You know, that's, to me, it isn't necessary to do that. You know, they were uptight, nervous, and everything.
Yeah,
And I just have to,
yeah, I didn't chastise him on it,
You know,
so, okay. Go ahead.
All I wanna do is wish everybody a very happy Thanksgiving. You have a multiple of events coming up. You have the Festival of the Trees by the Boys and Girls Club coming up. You have the Frozen Frolic Road Race coming up. You have the Holiday Stroll coming up on the 6th as well, the lighting of the trees on the 5th. There are a lot of activities for the community. But my fellow board members, very happy Thanksgiving. Steve and Sherry as well. So that's about it.
Okay. Tiz?
No, just happy Thanksgiving to everyone, that's it.
Okay, great.
Nothing but happy
Good?
Thanksgiving.
Okay. I'm good. Just a quick question for Steve. Curveball at you, not really. No, I've seen some traffic on email about signage and our signage enforcement officer and that kind of stuff. Just maybe we could have them come in and give an update, or if you have a quick update, or it seems like things are
Yeah, I
starting
mean,
to churn along.
I think that this board was very forward-thinking in creating the sign officer position. We did a part-time position. We actually took a grant, or took, not a grant, but took money from someone
Right.
that is putting up a sign and used it to pay for the
Agreed to-
sign position. So
right.
that was, I think, very good about this board. And we really went out and we did a education, outreach, education, assistance to try to get the businesses to comply with the sign bylaw. And this board will remember that, I think that was 2 or 3 years ago, that the town of Wakefield passed the sign
Right.
bylaw. Since then, we've gone out and, or he's gone out with our building inspector and spoken with a lot of businesses, and we're really going to look at, we might call low-hanging fruit. Places that are, either have a permit that they agreed to from the Board of Appeals, and they have not lived up to it for whatever reason.
Right.
Or that are flagrant and really out there in what they're doing for signage. So to date, we have 3 businesses that we've actually, in writing, asked them to come in and to, that's what we do. I mean, there is outreach, but there's also, has to be some enforcement. Those 3 businesses have come in, and although there's always a fine mentioned in these letters,
Right.
we are not looking to fine anybody.
Right.
And it has been our practice for years, for decades, that if you come in and you're working with the Board of Appeals or the Planning Board or Building Inspector, the whole finding is told. We never want to collect a fine at all.
Right.
We really want you to come in and work with us. And those three businesses are. So I said before, it is gonna take a long time to get compliance with the sign bylaw. That is starting to work. In fact, the new, the owner of the Dollar Tree is coming in and he's embracing or the building owner is embracing this with our sign review board. I do have a letter that came in Friday from the Chamber of Commerce asking, and I think I shared that with the chairman, to talk about the sign bylaw and actually ask for a moratorium till the end of January. I don't think a moratorium is what the route we should go. I think we should continue what we're doing. Because these people in Town Hall, they're working hard. They're trying to better Wakefield. And I think to do a moratorium would just pull the rug out from under them. So
Yeah.
if the board still wants to have the chamber come in, we can have them at the next meeting. That's up to the chairman. But I think it's going in the right direction, and we're trying. And also, we're trying to get people to take advantage of the grant program that we
Right.
put together with two banks in the town to help you comply.
For voluntary compliance.
For voluntary
right?
compliance, yeah.
It's,
And
right.
something that we could use in these that we're bringing in, but in some instances, it's not gonna cost anything. You can have 10% signage in your window, and there are posters all
Yeah,
over this window that you
declutter.
can't see in.
Yeah.
And that's a safety issue for police to look in, the building inspector, the health inspector, the fire to your establishment to see what's going on. So these aren't draconian measures in the least, so.
Yeah. No,
that's-
I recall the kind of the overarching task for the role was outreach first.
Right.
And follow with,
Right.
over time, outreach and education, then that will lead into enforcement, except for
Right.
the egregious cases or the ones that really need to be addressed on short
It needs to be a
order.
little bit of a carrot and stick sometimes.
Yeah, and
that's-
certainly we have an obligation to respond
Right.
if there's a complaint or somebody points something out.
Yes.
It puts the burden on us to, I mean, we can't not respond, just now we have an extra resource to do it properly.
Right.
So, and to your other point, I want to reiterate that too, because this is one of the most, I think, misunderstood things we do. People, it comes up in debates for this board, for other things in town, the sign bylaw. I remember in my own debate for this, one of the other candidates said, we're not gonna make people tear their signs down and put up new ones, and it just, that's not the idea here. Nor is it within our authority. You can't make somebody comply with the new law who has a pre-existing sign. It's only people putting up new signs have to then comply moving
Right.
forward. So it's completely fair, and I think when we talk about enforcement, we're actually talking about, you kind of touched on it, we're asking people to comply with the old law in a lot of cases, or the rules they agreed to in their old special permit. So, it isn't even necessarily about the new bylaw, we're still working on enforcing the old one, which was far loose, so.
I think we decided to go back about 10 years of where they had permits and they weren't, for whatever reason, weren't living up to what they agreed to. So let's
Right.
get them in and let's see what we can do to help them to do what, 'cause
Right.
the Board of Appeals spends a lot of time, as you guys know.
We know,
Really
yeah.
working on these issues to try to get the best for the town. And little by little, I see it happening.
You can see it.
And you
On
can't
the little
see it, I
side
mean,
streets
It's
downtown, there's some of them,
starting. It's
all looks
starting.
right,
It's
yeah.
taking, it's gonna take a while, but, and sometimes the sign review board or the Board of Appeals will say, you know what, you need a bigger sign.
Yep.
Size of your building says you should get a bigger sign, and people are like,
Right.
we can give you a bigger sign. So they're working hard, and I think that Bob Sardella is working very hard, Jack Roberto, and, I certainly support their efforts.
yeah, I hope they become friendly faces and
Yeah,
not,
that-
here
that's-
comes the
that's
sign
what the-
police,
that's
right?
what we're all about.
That's the goal, and somebody that can provide, it will be a source of guidance
Yeah.
for a business owner who's,
Exactly.
you're focused on your business, whether it's pouring ice cream or cooking food or selling clothes, whatever it is, that's gonna be your cutting hair, that's gonna be your focus. Signage is secondary, nobody has time to get a degree in signage, but that's why we have this resource available, so you can go say, hey, what am I supposed to do, the right guidance?
And I
So,
think when you look at
yeah,
some of
sorry,
these
Betsy, I see you.
communities,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, when you look at some of these communities, a Main Street program that we're we're all supporting, Paul, Selectman Janako has spent a lot of time on this. you look at their, and I'm not gonna say uniformity, but consistency in the signage and what they're doing and how they're presenting themselves. And that's, we're trying to go into that direction, and the more we can do to help, and, which we're trying to do, and the more support we get from this board and from others, would really be great.
Yeah, and I'll just add to that, just because and I'm sorry, Betsy. I just don't really want to hear you talk, so. No, just one quick thing on that, just, what you said, it's not uniformity, but it's really about appropriateness, and the appropriateness is dictated by the architecture of the building.
Right.
And that's really, at the end of the day, what it's about is, okay, what sign or what types of signs can this building, given its architecture? And a lot of people just say, look, I want my big sign, I'm gonna stick it on the front of whatever building it is. If you really match the signage to the architecture of the building, that's when you get the flow. That's when you drive through the other town, whether it's in Massachusetts or Canada or Idaho, and you drive through a town and you say, wow, this is really nice. That's gonna be it. It's the signage is appropriate and matches the architecture, whatever it may be, which is different building by building. It's not looking for uniformity or everything has to be the same or something like that. It's appropriateness and reasonableness, and that's how you get that nice community feel, so. Go ahead, Betsy.
I just wanted to ask for you, is that money still available? I think it was $5,000 in the budget.
Yes, yeah.
And also, is the money still available from the two banks that they each kicked in $2,500?
Yeah, they have not pulled back on that, so I'm
Yeah.
So we
positive it's
still, we
available.
have a resource there, we have a pot of money that
Yep.
could be drawn from.
Yeah, if somebody wants to, again, voluntarily comply, meaning otherwise in the process of changing their, or they're not, it's not a new business coming in, but it's somebody who has a sign that's grandfathered, so to speak, and says, you know what, I think I'd like to comply and improve the look of my store. There's money out there to help pay for that.
I'm just glad it's still
It's
there.
been there for years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm still glad it's there.
Still there.
We've already used it twice. Is there any mechanism in place to replenish the money that we know of?
Well, other than going back and getting more from the two, from,
Well,
sure.
we know that we already know that two businesses have already used the money that was set aside for the,
So it's not there.
well, some of it, no.
Oh.
It was like, I think it was like $12,000 there. I think there's $9,000 in
Yeah.
there left.
Oh, all right.
We still have quite a bit left.
There's
We
still
have
plenty
quite a
there.
bit
Oh, okay.
left. I'm just saying that once it drops down, in order for another business to take advantage of the program, is there any mechanism in place that we could foreseeably see to allow it for more businesses?
Asking nicely is the mechanism. I mean, there wasn't a commitment to keep
Perpetuity,
replenishing
but,
it, but
Right.
it was a generous act on the part of the banks, and, you know,
And
hopefully,
I'm pretty sure that we could replenish that if we needed to.
I'm sure we could, and, you know. Okay. Did you, Tiz?
Yeah, Steve, do the businesses, and obviously some businesses know about this, have we done anything to put them on notice?
I've spoken with the Chamber of Commerce on a couple of occasions, as has, sign, enforcement officer. We have also, they're going door to door and talking to
Yeah, so
every
they know
business.
about,
So
it.
there
They
has
know
been an
about
outreach.
this money being there, so.
Right, but it doesn't hurt to tell them again, I mean,
Yeah.
they're busy running their business, and maybe they're not paying attention, you're not talking to the right person sometimes.
Right.
No, we've spent a lot of time with business owners, and sometimes the problem is the business owner and the building owner are not the same person.
Right.
And the building owner doesn't wanna cooperate with it, and that's a big issue too sometimes.
Right.
But you can look at some great success stories, Santander Bank.
Yep.
That's a great success story in the signage. Socorro, I think another great
Yep.
success
They did
story.
nice.
The Sabatino's block.
Sabatino's block.
Right.
So there are, little by little, it's
Right.
happening. You know, I'm sorry that the business is not here anymore, but all of the old banners and stuff were removed from Ski Shack, and Phyllis was very helpful in that too. So there have been some success stories, let's keep going.
Keep it
It's
going.
gonna take
Right.
a long time, might take 10 years.
Yeah, no, it does,
Take
it
longer,
takes,
but-
I think, when
I think
when
we're
we were
moving in the
writing
right
the
direction.
bylaw, we went and visited several towns, I think Melrose in particular, we said, we started this almost 20 years ago.
Right.
It just takes time, you need a natural progression of things to occur and change to happen. And I think Newburyport was like 40 years
Yeah.
in the making.
Really, it's beautiful.
But what it takes is a unified front, everybody on the same board, everybody in the same sheet of music, sending the message out to the community. It's not,
Right.
it's
And
not
again, we're
something
not here to be
draconian.
draconian and work with us.
We don't have, the sign police don't carry batons.
No, not yet.
Ferguson, they do.
Yeah.
That's coming out tonight.
Yeah,
That's why I said
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So, okay, thanks, Steve, for the update. Maybe,
Thank you.
we'll talk about who maybe we should have come in. I might be interested in have Bob Sardello come in and talk if he has some
Set 'em
time.
up for a future meeting.
Yeah, I think that'd be great, so. Betsy, are there any other motions you'd like to make? Anything else to say tonight?
adjourn, honey.
Betsy has moved to adjourn. Is there a second? Second by Tiz. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.